this is the start, or kind of the start. In this, I will go over basic training and what you kind of need to be doing every day. 15, 20, 30 minutes max. You don't need to do this that often, or you need to do it every day, but you don't need to do it for that long. There's a few things we're gonna cover. Obviously, the raw aim, right? Stutter stepping, which is your movement, and I have this overlay on the thing, so it'll show you when I'm hitting keys, so you can see exactly when I do what. Basic recoil, so you just need to go. You don't need to do it for all the guns. I recommend AK, both M4s at the minimum, and then maybe the Galil if you want. And I'll also let you know what workshop map this is. So, starting off, when you load in, just kind of feel around. You don't really need to change any of the settings or anything. This is how you switch guns. You just shoot what you want. So you can just start off with just kind of shooting around. The goal here is to be accurate, right? It's not to go fast. So just focus on accuracy. Speed comes naturally. Actually, hold up. When you start, don't move. Just use your mouse. And this will help you with kind of getting your mouse control down. So just start with this, and then we can incorporate moving into the shooting. I mean, this is pretty basic. Just go through, right, target by target. And if you really want to test your mouse sensitivity and your control, then you can do like the full, all the way. Just kind of go for the extended. And this will give you an idea of, this will give your brain an idea of how far you need to move the mouse and in what way you need to move it to really get the feel down for the game. I missed there, but yeah, that's pretty basic. Moving on to stutter stepping, this is very important. So it allows you to, alright, this is essentially how it works. If you're moving to the right in this game, when you let go of the key, you don't stop instantly. Notice how there's some drift after I let go of the key, because that's how it works, right? In real life you don't, I mean, this game's not real life, but you essentially come to a stop. You don't stop right away. And what this means is in that moment, you are not kind of accurate there, but right when you let go of the key, you are not accurate if you shoot. I'm kind of close here, so it's, but you can see what happens here with the bullets. They're not going where the crosshair is at all. Sometimes they are, but I think it's because I'm hitting it late. So to prevent this, you can, let's say you're holding A, you're going to the left. When you let go of A, you instantly press D, and that will instantly put you to a stop. So it's holding, holding, to the right, left, to the right, left. So to execute this, if you're holding down D, you let go of D, and at the same time you press A. So it's like this, or it's like this. For right now, just focus on left to right. It also, same concept for forward, backwards, but this is a lot harder to do, or at least learn and do. So for now, you just focus on this, right? And I mean, this is why people say you want to try to minimize, especially in gunfights, you want to minimize the amount of time that you are pressing the W key, because, like, for example, if I'm hitting W and B, like if I'm going forwards and to the right, if I wanna fully come to a stop and be accurate, I have to press A and S when I lift. So it looks like this, kind of. Yeah, really weird and kind of awkward. So you just wanna focus on A to D, especially in your gunfights. Try to be conscious of this, and this is where deathmatch training really comes into play. So a good way for you to practice this is just essentially go down this little alleyway. Oh, what happened? My mouse glitch? Ooh. Okay, yeah, my mouse glitch. Sorry about that. The way you want to practice is just go forward and backwards here, stutter stepping at some interval and then just shooting at this wall. And you'll know when you did it wrong because you won't be accurate. So here's a quick run through. You don't have to stop at the same interval in each way, just, you know, kind of hard to do that, but yeah, just go back and forth here like this. And what you're looking for is essentially the bullet going exactly where your crosshair was, and I messed up there. And once you do that, maybe once or twice, then you can kind of throw in left and then right, so to kind of simulate trying to dodge the enemy when you're in a gunfight. So you could go maybe right, and then left. So you can go, you can also do this type of action. And I get that in there. And then while you're going to the right, oops, I completely fucked up there. While you're going to the right, maybe you can just switch to the left. I am a bot. I'm double clicking. Sorry. Let me kind of do it over here. So let's say here's going, switch it up. The switch up is definitely the hardest part. I would recommend learning it just one direction and then trying to add these switch ups. So as you can see, I mean, I'm still messing up there. I'm nowhere near very good, so it's gonna happen. So where does this come into play? Well, the most obvious example, where's the, alright, this is the most obvious example. So let's say there's an enemy here, right, and you want to peek him. So instead of going out and like trying to, like, how you want to peek people, right, is you don't, first of all, you want to peek as far away from the wall as possible, because this gives you the biggest line of sight advantage. So for example, if I peek from right here, notice when I see the enemy, right? If I kind of walk, that's when I can see the enemy at first. But if I go back, notice how his character model gets bigger, because I can see him a little bit earlier the farther back I am. This is kind of, I mean, this is just how physics works, like in real life as well. It's the same concept. So like ideally, you know, here's another example. So I can start seeing him right around here, but if I go back, notice how it's here. So it's just this concept of trying to peek from as far away as possible. Now, this is a general rule, right? Like, you know, there's situations, especially if you have an op or something, where you just kind of want to go. But, you know, for the most part, when you're rifling, try to peek from farther out. And the best use of stutter stepping, or jiggling, another word for it, is you essentially just wanna like, you wanna try to kind of spot them out, but also more so, like, I don't know how to word it, but you wanna play this game, like I call it. It's like a little game. It's like a game within the game, but it's essentially, you know, gaming. So like, if two people are peeking each other and both stutter stepping out of cover, it's really just, it's not luck. It's kind of like a 50-50 from Rocket League. You essentially want to maximize your chance of hitting the enemy while minimizing the chance that you get hit, which is why going in and out of cover very quickly is a pretty good way to do this overall. And you know, this is kind of an example of how it works, right? You can kind of use this to spot. And I mean, you see me do this. Like, a good example is on Inferno. If I'm T-stairs and I'm peeking car, like I'll try not to just be out here and hold, because there's something called peeker's advantage. So you want to try to peek as much as you can. Like, you won't. Let me reword that. You want to try to be the one that's peeking, especially if you know where they are. Because if you're playing, you know, if on land, it's a little bit different, but you're not on land, so you want to ideally Oh wow. Oh wow, that was horrible. But you know, this is kind of, you know, and if you want to practice like this as well, you can be like that. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of stutter stepping. It's really just about getting the movement down. So once again, just practice single directional control at a time. So let's say going to the left, just practice this. Just go to the left, stop with your D, stop by lifting your A key, depressing your D key, and get this moment down. Once you've done this for a few minutes, right, move on to moving to the right. So lift the D key, lift the D key and depress the A key, and you'll see. And if you're having trouble kind of getting the timing down, and just, I mean, you can kind of see it in game. So if I'm just holding and then let go, you can see the little, like, you know, when you let go of the key, you can see that little window of continued movement. So you just put a stop to it, and it just takes one depression of the key. You know, you don't have to like hold it, or like if you hold it, you'll start moving the other way. So it just takes one, and that will stop you. So just get one-sided movement down, and then as you get more comfortable with that, then you can move into, you know, mixing it up, right? Yeah, I mean, the main drill for this is one at a time, and then incorporate a little bit of mixed action. Once you kind of get it down on the wall, something, if you want to take this further, like for example, let's take this spot here, right? What you can try doing is this type of, if you want to really tighten up on it, and if you want to really tighten up on it, just kind of try to step around his head while shooting, or trying not to hit his head. This one's a little bit tougher, just it's because of the distance, but that will give you a more closer distance between each step. And I mean, I think that'll be enough to really get you started. It's not the most difficult thing. It really just requires muscle memory. There are things that make it easier. Wu-Tang keyboard with its, I forgot the exact switches, but it's with its specific technology. I'm blanking right now, but you know what I mean. It's a very good thing. As for your mouse, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it's, yeah, this is a core feature of the game. It's something you really need to learn. Now that's single target shooting, or single shot shooting, but this is also really nice if you just want to, you know, let off a few bullets, right? Your first bullet will be accurate, but your next few might not, and that's, you know, that's fine. The goal here is to try to get a few bullets downrange at the target. So you see, I'm purposely not going for a headshot here, but you can kind of let off a few bullets at the guy. That's not a good way of using it. Yeah, another thing you really need to start prioritizing is stop taking gunfights when you're using these two keys, W and S. It really isn't the move. You want to actively be trying to take gunfights while moving to the left and right, because this gives you the most advantage against the other person, especially once you learn stutter stepping properly. And a good way to practice this, deathmatch. I'll be honest with you, deathmatch. It's always deathmatch. Yeah, I mean, as for actual aim, you know, you can go around like this. Now, how to incorporate this into what I was doing when I started this, is you essentially stutter, like you move, stutter, and you also do the aiming at the same time. So you want to move and then stop when you shoot, and this will kind of give you a good, you know, this will really get you going. I really like doing this personally. I find it very beneficial because it kind of does 2 in 1. You know, it gets my aim kind of warmed up, and it also gets my clicking of the keys down, the timings. So remember, the goal is accuracy. Don't worry too much about speed. Speed will come naturally. Accuracy is the hard one to get. Just the way it is. So yeah. Alright, moving into Recoil. Now this one you can use a specific Recoil map, or you can just do it on this map. Once you know what the pattern is, you really don't need a separate map. You can just do it on a map like this. But we'll start with the AK. What you can do is essentially just fire at the wall, and you can see the pattern. Okay. And you can kind of see what it does here. It goes up, slightly to the left, and then to the right. Now for the two main rifles, AK M4, don't worry too much about this direction here at the start. Just focus on pulling down and then this big horizontal movement here, right? You can get the minute differences over time. You'll naturally learn. Yeah, like, so another thing is, don't, like, for example, don't do this. What I do there, I sprayed over 30 bullets essentially. Once you pass 30, because there's infinite ammo in here, once you pass 30 bullets, the recoil, I believe, turns random, if I'm correct. And that's really not what we want. We're not trying to train RNG. If you want to prevent this, you can obviously just come here, turn off infinite ammo, right? And then, you know, you'll have to reload, but you'll get a good idea of exactly how the recoil feels for each bullet. And you'll also start getting a rough idea of when in the recoil pattern you have X amount of bullets left. It's pretty nice. So, you know, for the AK here, it's, you know, it needs to be good enough, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to be like the size of a 10-centimeter dinner plate out to 20 meters or anything. Just focus on getting your bullets in the mid-range. And I mean, ideally you're not using sprays from something like this far away. You can, for sure. Oh fuck, that was horrible. But the goal is to try to, if you're doing a single target, is you want to kill the guy before you get to the horizontal point in the recoil. So hold up. The goal is to try to kill the person within this time window right here before you really get to the horizontal bit. So let me try to get, I think that's roughly 15 bullets. Yeah, about 10-ish bullets, 10, 15 bullets. You want to try to kill a single target in that amount of time. It's doable, and especially a gun like AK, you can just one tap. So, but yeah, like it only takes a few body shots, you know, get a headshot in there a lot quicker. But this will allow you to really focus on just the main part is getting that vertical recoil. The horizontal really only comes into effect when you're doing a full spray control, right? So you want to really focus on that big boy initial vertical recoil, and then the horizontal recoil. You'll learn over time as you do this, you know, every day, or hopefully every day. It will just naturally come, so it's not that hard. And then this is obviously taken further with something called spray transfers. So spray transfer is you start shooting at one target, you kill the guy, but you want to, you know, flick to this guy, right? So it's, you know, taking the spray over from here to here, or from here to here. So that was a pretty poor example, but let me try that. He's pretty dead. Well, I'll do something kind of extreme. So let's say there's a guy behind you, right? You can, right, like that's, I mean, I'm not the greatest at this, I'll be honest. That's a very advanced technique that you don't really need to worry about yet. Ideally, you're not spraying like that often. I mean, I'm talking about rifles here, you know, SMGs, let it rip. But, yeah, we've covered AK recoil once again. So let's do a Galil. So once again, same thing. Any gun you want to learn, just come here, fire at the wall. You kind of get a good sense of the recoil. Yeah, notice how the vertical portion's comes up a lot quicker than the AK. A lot more horizontal recoil on this gun. A1S is really easy. I mean, you already know A1S. I've seen you shoot it, so you know, A1S is really simple. Here it is on the wall. Just a, you know, inverse 7 essentially. And then A4 can get a little wild, I'll be honest. It likes to kick, but you know, just like AK, it can be learned. So yeah, I mean that's recoil. These two, the SG and the AUG, you can do them if you really use them. It's not imperative to do, because usually you're gonna, only reason you'd use them is if you pick them up, or if you're trying to use them for the scope, kind of holding back with the scope. But if you wanna learn these, you can certainly learn these. FAMAS, it just depends on if you use it. You know, I don't really use it. I'm not the biggest fan, but like for example, I would much rather buy an MP9 if I was a CT, because that initial vertical recoil, you can just spray a few bullets downrange, and it serves as a great little budget laser beam. That's the best way of putting it. So I mean, that's just personal preference. You know what guns you're gonna use. But at the bare minimum, A1, A4, AK. Learn those. And yeah, I mean, and you can also add an SMG if you really like using an SMG. What else? The workshop map, I'll go through with you over a call on how to get it downloaded, but I guess if anyone else is watching this, I'll include the link to it in the description. As for aim, you know, you can practice your actual flicks. I mean, if you want to practice your flicks, you can do it. Flicks are not the greatest thing to practice. It's much better to learn mouse control and natural aiming, and naturally you will flick. You know, it's more. It should be a reaction. It shouldn't be something you go for. But in my opinion, the most important part of crosshair, or the most important part of aim, is crosshair placement. I'll go through when I do the map by map. I'll kind of help you out a little bit more with that, because it really depends on the map, and you kind of have to know the angles that people will hopefully be playing. But like, if I know this guy's here, right? Instead of aiming like this off the wall, and then having a oop, or instead of aiming like this and then oop, you know, you can kind of visualize where he is. Just try to think about where he is, and then your crosshair's already there when you peek. That's, in my opinion, the biggest contributor to aim, and the thing that will improve your aim the most noticeable impact, at least. Yeah, that's basic movement, basic recoil, how to train it, practice it. Workshop map, I'll also include that. I'm gonna end this here, and I'll catch you in the next one.